Let me ask you something. How many times have you stood at the edge of your dreams, staring at the life you want, and thought, maybe one day, maybe when I'm ready, maybe when things are perfect? If I told you that ready doesn't exist? What if I told you that perfection is a trap, a story we tell ourselves to justify waiting and waiting while life passes us by? Right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. You can stay where you are, waiting for the perfect conditions, or you can step forward and act as if you are unstoppable. Because here's the truth, unstoppable people don't wait for confidence, they create it. Wait for opportunity. They make it. They don't wait for circumstances to align, they move anyway. Acting as if you are unstoppable is not about arrogance. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about deciding today that nothing, and I mean nothing, will stop you from becoming the person you were born to be. Right now, I want you to look at yourself and ask, what if fear was a lie? What if failure was just feedback? If every obstacle was actually my greatest advantage waiting to happen? When you start living like this, when you act as if nothing can hold you back, you stop being a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. You become the force that bends reality to your will. You become unstoppable. And today, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to ignite that unstoppable fire within you. I'm going to show you how to take the power that's already inside you and channel it in a way that turns dreams into results, doubts into action, and excuses into victories. Are you ready to stop waiting? You ready to step into a version of yourself that refuses to quit, refuses to settle, and refuses to listen to the naysayers? Then lean in, because your unstoppable life starts right now. You want to be unstoppable? Then the first thing you have to understand is that it all begins with your identity. You see, most people spend their lives chasing goals, thinking that once they achieve a certain milestone, success will suddenly appear. They believe that their actions create their results. But the truth is far more powerful and far more liberating. Your actions are an expression of who you already believe you are. You perform at the level of your identity, not your aspirations. If you want to act unstoppable, you must first become unstoppable. Not in what you do, but in who you believe you are. Right now, take a moment and look at the person staring back at you in the mirror. Who do you see? You see in someone capable of achieving anything they set their mind to, someone who refuses to be defined by fear, doubt, or failure. Or are you seeing someone who still plays small, someone who convinces themselves that their dreams are out of reach? The image you hold of yourself in this very moment is dictating every decision you make. Every thought, every action, every hesitation, all of it flows from the identity you've accepted for yourself. Here's the thing, identities are not fixed. They are not carved in stone. Every single one of us has the ability to redefine who we are. But most people wait for external evidence before they allow themselves to step into a new identity. They wait until they have the job, the title, the bank account, the recognition, the accolades. They wait until someone else says, you are worthy. But being unstoppable does not come from the world approving you. Being unstoppable comes from you deciding in this very moment that you are worthy of it, that you are capable of it, that you are the type of person who takes action no matter what. When you decide to act as if you are unstoppable, you begin to wire your brain and your body to live at a higher standard. It starts with a simple question. Do I need to become to achieve what I want? Not what you need to do, but who you need to become. Because every action you take will flow naturally from that identity. You don't have to force yourself to do the right thing. You simply become the kind of person who does the right thing. You don't push yourself to show up every day. You become the kind of person who shows up no matter what. You don't struggle to persevere through obstacles. You become the kind of person who sees obstacles as opportunities, as fuel, as stepping stones to your ultimate success. Identity is not something you merely think about. It's something you feel, something you live in, something you breathe. Your body, your energy, your physiology, your emotions, they all respond to the identity you choose. When you decide deep in your bones that you are unstoppable, your body aligns with that truth. You stand taller. You speak with conviction. You move with purpose. You radiate a certainty that can't be shaken by setbacks, criticism, or uncertainty. People notice it. The universe notices it. Doors that were once closed begin to open because the energy you carry demands that it must. Let's be real. Changing your identity is not an overnight switch. It requires relentless self-honesty. You have to look at the areas of your life where you are not living as the person you want to be and ask yourself a very difficult question. Why am I still allowing myself to act in ways that don't reflect the person I claim I want to be? Excuses will rise up. Fear will whisper in your ear. The comfort of your old identity will try to pull you back. And here's the secret. That resistance is the evidence that you are on the right path. The struggle, the tension, the discomfort, they are all signs that you are breaking through to a new level. To act as if you are unstoppable, you have to take responsibility for the stories you tell yourself. Most people are guided by stories of limitation. I can't because I'm not ready, because I'll start tomorrow, because all of these are just stories, narratives you've accepted about who you are and what you're capable of. Unstoppable people rewrite the story. They don't wait for evidence. They don't wait for permission. They decide first in their mind and then in their actions that they are capable, they are resilient, they are worthy of the life they dream about. And once that story takes hold, everything in their world begins to shift. Here's how it works in practice. Let's say you want to become a leader in your field everyone looks up to. You could wait until you have the experience, the title, the accolades, or you could start today acting as if you were already that leader. You study what leaders do. You model their behavior. You speak with confidence even when you feel nervous. You make decisions with clarity even when the path is uncertain. You take full ownership of the results of your actions, refusing to blame circumstances, other people, or luck. And before long, people stop seeing the pretend version. They see the real version emerging in you, and opportunities that were once distant now begin to gravitate toward you. The most powerful thing about identity is that it compounds. Every small action you take as the person you want to become strengthens that identity. Every time you choose courage over fear, action over hesitation, commitment over procrastination, you are reinforcing the belief in yourself. And before long, flirting as if it becomes who you are. Unstoppable is no longer something you pretend to be. It becomes your default. So ask yourself, starting today, what identity will you choose? Will you continue to let doubt, fear, limitation define you? Or will you stand up, hold your head high, and declare to the world, and most importantly to yourself, that you are unstoppable? Not someday, not when it's convenient, but right now. Because the moment you choose your identity, moment you step in the person you were born to be, everything changes. It begins with that choice, that commitment, that unwavering decision to stop waiting and start becoming. And once you take that step, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop the momentum that comes from living fully as the person you were always meant to be. If you want to be unstoppable, you have to understand one undeniable truth: your energy, your state, your emotional intensity. They are everything. You can have the clearest plan, the biggest goals, and the most disciplined schedule, but if you don't master your state, none of it matters. Every action you take, every decision you make flows from the way you are feeling in that very moment. The unstoppable don't leave that to chance, they take control. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew exactly what needed to be done, but somehow you just couldn't summon the energy to do it? Maybe you procrastinated, maybe you made excuses, maybe you gave in to doubt. That was your state controlling you instead of you controlling your state. And that's exactly what separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. Stoppable understand that your body, your mind, your emotions, they're all connected. When you master one, you master all. When you control your energy, you control your results. State is not something mysterious. It is something tangible, something you can influence every single day. It's about physiology, focus, and language. It's about how you move, how you breathe, what you pay attention to, and the words you tell yourself. If you slouch, if you breathe shallowly, if you focus on what's missing instead of what's possible, you are setting yourself up to fail before you even begin. But if you stand tall, if you breathe deeply, if you speak with conviction, if your eyes lock on the opportunity instead of the obstacle, you create a state of unstoppable momentum. Imagine two people standing at the same starting line. One is tense, unsure, consumed by fear of failure. The other is alive, vibrant, focused, and confident. Who do you think will take the first step? Will push through when it gets hard? Who will create breakthroughs that seem impossible? It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's state. One person has mastered the internal chemistry of success. The other is at the mercy of circumstance. That's why state is everything. Controlling your state doesn't mean you'll never feel fear, frustration, or doubt. It doesn't mean life will suddenly be easy. It means that no matter what life throws at you, you can choose how to respond. You can choose energy over lethargy, courage over hesitation, action over inaction. You can decide to be unstoppable even when circumstances suggest otherwise. Every challenge becomes a trigger to step up rather than step back. Every setback becomes fuel instead of a reason to quit. That's the power of mastering your state. One of the most powerful tools you have is your physiology. Your posture, your movement, gestures, they all send signals to your brain and your nervous system. When you move like someone who is confident and unstoppable, your body chemistry changes. Adrenaline and endorphins surge. Your brain interprets your movements as strength and capability. Suddenly, fear and doubt lose their power because your body is already telling you, I've got this. Stand tall. Take up space. Move with purpose. Even when you don't feel it yet, your body will lead your mind and your mind will follow. Focus is another essential element. What you pay attention to shapes your state. Most people focus on what's missing, what's going wrong, or what could go wrong. That focus creates anxiety, paralysis, and doubt. But unstoppable people focus on what's possible, what's within their control, and the next action they can take. Their attention is a laser beam that cuts through distraction, fear, and uncertainty. You learn to focus on what matters, your energy amplifies, your clarity sharpens, and your momentum becomes unstoppable. Language is equally powerful. The words you use in your mind and in your speech shape your beliefs, your confidence, your results. The minute you catch yourself saying, I can't, I'm not ready, or this is too hard, you're giving up your power. But when you start saying, I choose to, I will figure it out, and nothing can stop me, you are programming yourself to act as if you are unstoppable. Language is more than words. It's a declaration of identity and a signal to the universe that you are moving forward no matter what. And here's the critical part. Mastering your state is a practice, not a one-time event. You have to do it every day, multiple times a day until it becomes second nature. The unstoppable don't wait for motivation. They create it. They don't wait for inspiration. They generate it. They wake up and take control of their physiology, their focus, Their language before the day has a chance to control them. And when life inevitably throws challenges, they respond from that empowered state rather than from fear or fatigue. Think about someone who inspires you, someone who seems unstoppable. You notice is not just their actions, it's their energy, their presence, the way they carry themselves. That energy is contagious. It pulls people toward them. Opportunities are drawn to it. Problems shrink in comparison. The reason they are that way is simple. They learned to master their state. They decided consciously and consistently that nothing external would dictate how they feel or how they act. You can do the same thing. No matter your circumstances, no matter your past, no matter the obstacles in your path, you can learn to control your state. You can learn to generate energy, focus, and confidence on demand. You can train yourself to act as if you are unstoppable. And in doing so, you begin to actually become unstoppable because energy is contagious, momentum is unstoppable, and action taken from the right state is impossible to ignore. It starts with small choices, choosing to stand a little taller, speak a little clearer, focus a little sharper, move a little faster. Then it becomes bigger choices, choosing to tackle challenges head on, to keep moving when others quit, to act decisively when fear tempts you to hesitate. And eventually it becomes who you are. You don't just feel unstoppable sometimes, you are unstoppable in every fiber of your being. Mastering your state is not just about success. It's about life itself. It's about waking up each day with clarity, energy, and purpose. It's about refusing to be controlled by circumstance. It's about taking the power that already exists within you and unleashing it fully into the world. When you do this consistently, nothing can stand in your way. You begin to attract the people, the opportunities, and the resources that match your unstoppable energy. You begin to create results that feel impossible to those who haven't learned this power. And the beauty of it is this: it doesn't require anything outside of you. You don't need permission, you don't need luck, you don't need validation. Everything you need to become unstoppable is already inside you, waiting for you to take control, to harness it, and to act from it. You simply have to decide and then commit. Then practice until it becomes your natural state of being. Your energy, your focus, your language, they are the tools. Your discipline, your persistence, your courage, they are the outcomes. And once you master your state, you will find that there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can hold you back. If you want to be unstoppable, there is one absolute truth you must accept: excuses are the greatest thieves of potential. Every time you say, I can't because I don't have enough, or maybe someday, you are handing over your power to circumstances, to fear, to other people's opinions. Excuses are a quiet surrender. They are the stories we tell ourselves to justify staying small, to rationalize why we aren't living at the level we are capable of. And the moment you decide to stop making excuses, that is the moment you reclaim your life. That is the moment you step fully into being unstoppable. Most people think they are limited by their circumstances. They believe they are trapped by a lack of resources, a lack of knowledge, a lack of opportunity. They point to their past failures, their current setbacks, or the uncertainty of the future. And here's the truth: none of that actually matters. What matters is the story you tell yourself about it. Every limitation, every obstacle, I can't, is only real because you choose to believe it. Stop blaming your circumstances. Stop looking for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. The unstoppable do not wait for anything outside of themselves. They take full ownership of their reality. Ownership is a radical act. It is a conscious declaration that no matter what life throws at you, you are responsible for how you respond. Responsible for the energy you bring, the choices you make, and the results you create. Ownership means you stop pointing fingers. You stop whining. You stop waiting. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes data. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more resourceful. The moment you take ownership, excuses lose their power and unstoppable momentum begins to build. Think about this. Every successful person you admire, someone who seems invincible in their achievements, did not get there because life was easy. They got there because they refused to blame circumstances. They refused to make excuses. They looked at the exact same obstacles you see in your life and said, I will find a way. I will figure this out. I will succeed no matter what. That is the mindset that separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is ownership. It is the refusal to let anything outside of themselves dictate what they can accomplish. Excuses are seductive because they give you temporary comfort. They allow you to feel like you are still doing your best while secretly holding yourself back. I can't do because I don't have enough experience. You say, I'll try later because the timing isn't right. Every excuse is a way to avoid discomfort, to avoid risk, to avoid taking responsibility for your results. But comfort and growth cannot coexist. You cannot stay in your comfort zone and become unstoppable. You cannot hide behind excuses and achieve greatness. You must be willing to step in discomfort, to face fear, to take responsibility, and to act anyway. Of the most powerful ways to eliminate excuses is to change the language you use, not just with others, but in your own mind. Excuses often live in the words we repeat over and over. I don't have time. I can't afford it. I'm not ready. Every time you say these things, you are reinforcing a limiting identity, a version of yourself that is small and powerless. But when you replace those words with phrases like, I choose to make it happen, I will find a way, I am capable of creating solutions, you begin to reprogram your brain for action, for resilience, for unstoppable results. Language is not just communication, it is identity. The moment you change your words, you change who you are becoming. Excuses are also a form of fear disguised as reason. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of uncertainty. They all manifest as excuses. I can't because it might not work out. I don't want to try because I could fail. But here's the truth. Failure is not the enemy. Avoiding failure is the enemy. Every setback, every no. Every mistake is data feedback, fuel for growth. The unstoppable do not see failure as the end. They see it as part of the journey. They know that the only true limitation is the decision to stop trying, and excuses are the fastest way to that stop. Taking ownership also means understanding that your results are never about luck. They are about responsibility. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. You may not have chosen the hand you were dealt. You always choose how to play it. Excuses are a way to pretend you have no control, when in reality, the moment you own everything, the world becomes your arena. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to demonstrate your power, your resourcefulness. When you operate from that mindset, unstoppable momentum begins to emerge. It is not easy. Excuses are comfortable. Ownership is uncomfortable. Taking responsibility requires honesty, courage, and relentless self-discipline. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and admit when you have been hiding behind stories, when you have been rationalizing why you haven't achieved what you could. You have to stop blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck. You have to stop waiting for permission and start demanding it from yourself. The moment you make that shift, the world shifts with you. Let me be clear, taking ownership does not mean you are perfect. It does not mean you will never struggle or fail. It means that no matter what happens, you refuse to let anything outside of yourself dictate your results. It means that instead of saying, you say, how can I? Instead of it's not fair, you say, what can I do to make it work? Instead of I'll wait, you say, I will act now. And when you live that way, excuses vanish. They have no power over you. You become unstoppable because your actions are aligned with responsibility, commitment, absolute refusal to settle for less than what you are capable of achieving. Every time you hear the voice of excuse in your head, use it as a signal to act. Use it as an invitation to rise above. Let it fuel your determination instead of diminishing it. The moment you make excuses irrelevant in your life, you step into a new level of power. You take back control of your story. You take control of your results. You take control of your destiny. Being unstoppable is not about circumstances, it's about choice. And the most powerful choice you can make is to own everything: your decisions, your energy, your actions, your results. Excuses are the chains that hold you back. Ship is the key that unlocks your potential. The minute you decide to stop making excuses and take full responsibility, you are no longer waiting for life to happen. You are making it happen. And in that moment, stoppable is no longer an aspiration. It becomes who you are. If you want to be unstoppable, you have to learn a truth that most people never fully embrace. Obstacles are not your enemies. They're your fuel. They're your training ground. They are the very thing that can make you stronger, sharper, and more resilient than you ever imagined. Most people see problems and immediately shrink back. They see obstacles and immediately look for a way around them, wishing they would disappear. The unstoppable, they run straight toward them. They understand that the size of the obstacle often determines the size of the breakthrough that follows. Life is never going to be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever comes without resistance. Every challenge, every setback, every who possible situation is designed to test you, to push you, to stretch you beyond the limits of who you think you are. You can either run from it, complain about it, let it hold you down, or you can step into it, embrace it, and use it as fuel for your unstoppable momentum. Every obstacle carries within it an opportunity, a lesson, hidden advantage that will catapult you to the next level if you have the courage to see it. Think about it for a moment. Some of the most successful, influential, unstoppable people you know, those who inspire you, did not achieve greatness because life was easy for them. They faced rejection, failure, criticism, and setbacks that would have crushed anyone else. And yet, separated them from the rest was not luck. It wasn't talent alone. It was their decision to see obstacles not as blocks, but as leverage. Every difficulty became fuel for their determination. Every problem became a chance to show themselves what they were truly capable of. The unstoppable do not complain about the problems they face. They do not waste energy wishing life were different. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect. Instead, they ask one simple question in the face of every challenge: how can I use this? How can this make me stronger? How can this become my advantage? That question shifts everything. It changes your perspective. It transforms fear into opportunity, doubt into clarity, and resistance into momentum. When you start asking that question consistently, obstacles no longer stop you. They propel you forward. Here's a key insight: obstacles are designed to stretch you beyond what you believe is possible. They force you to grow. They force you to innovate. They force you to summon strength, creativity, and courage you didn't know you had. Every time you face a challenge and step through it instead of around it, you expand your capacity. You prove to yourself in the most undeniable way that you are capable of far more than you thought. That is why the unstoppable embrace challenges. They know that if they avoid difficulty, they remain small, limited, and ordinary. If they meet it head on, they become extraordinary. Resistance is a teacher. Every problem, every failure, every setback contains a lesson. The question is, will you learn it or will you ignore it? Will you shrink back in fear? Will you lean in and take the lesson to heart? Every challenge you face has the potential to sharpen your focus, clarify your purpose, and strengthen your resolve. And the more obstacles you encounter and overcome, the more unstoppable you become. Life is a mirror. It reflects back to you the level of strength, courage, and resourcefulness you are willing to summon. The stronger you grow on the inside, the fewer obstacles feel capable of stopping you on the outside. Unstoppable people understand that discomfort is not a signal to retreat. It's a signal to act. They know that fear is not a signal to quit. It's a signal to push harder. The bigger the obstacle, the greater the opportunity for growth. The more resistance they face, the more they rise. Every time life says, stop, they say, watch me. Every time life challenges them, they say, I will find a way. That is not arrogance. That is certainty born of experience and relentless commitment. It is the mindset that converts setbacks into breakthroughs, fear to action, and obstacles into leverage. One of the most important skills you can develop is the ability to reframe obstacles. Reframing means looking at a challenge and deciding, consciously and deliberately, what it will mean in your life. Is it a barrier or a doorway? Is it a reason to give up or a reason to fight harder? Is it a setback or a setup for something greater? The answers you give to these questions shape your experience, your energy, and your results. And the unstoppable consistently choose to see obstacles as opportunities. They see every problem as a chance to demonstrate their strength, their creativity, their resilience. When you embrace obstacles in this way, something remarkable happens. Fear begins to lose its power. Doubt begins to diminish. You begin to trust yourself more deeply. You begin to understand that no matter what life throws at you, capable of handling it, you are capable of finding solutions, of pushing forward, and of creating results that others would think impossible. That confidence, once developed, becomes unstoppable, becomes a force that cannot be deterred by circumstances, setbacks, or the opinions of others. And here's the beauty of it. Obstacles are never permanent. They are temporary challenges designed to test, teach, and strengthen you. They are moments, destinies. The unstoppable understand this. They know that every problem has a beginning, a middle, and an end. They focus not on the discomfort, but on the action they can take. They focus not on what might go wrong, but on what they can control, they can influence, and what they can create. And that focus, that commitment, that relentless forward motion is what turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces of nature. Every obstacle you face is also a chance to prove something to yourself. It's a chance to show yourself that you are stronger than you thought, smarter than you imagined, more resourceful than you realized. Every difficulty you overcome becomes a building block for your confidence, your resilience, and your unstoppable momentum. The more you embrace this mindset, the more natural it becomes. You stop fearing obstacles. You stop avoiding challenges. You start seeking them out, knowing that they are the very things that will make you stronger and take you further than you ever dreamed possible. To be unstoppable, you must commit to this perspective fully. You must decide that no obstacle is bigger than your will. You must choose to see problems as leverage, setbacks as fuel, and resistance as a guide pointing you toward growth. You must refuse to shrink in fear, refuse to complain, refuse to make excuses, and refuse to let circumstances dictate your results. The unstoppable do not wish for an easier path. They create a stronger self to navigate whatever path life gives them. So when the next challenge arises, when the next difficulty presents itself, when life tests you in ways that feel overwhelming, remember this: obstacles are not your enemy. They are your teacher. They are your invitation to rise, to prove, and to become more than you ever imagined. The more you embrace this truth, the stronger you become, the more resilient you become. Unstoppable you become. And the moment you fully accept this, you step into a power that no obstacle can ever take from you. If you want to be unstoppable, you must understand a truth that most people overlook: motivation is fleeting. Motivation is like fire. It burns bright, but it does not last. You can feel inspired for a moment. You can get a surge of energy from a speech, a book, or a quote, and it can push you to action temporarily, but that spark will fade. Separates the unstoppable from the ordinary is not how motivated they feel in the moment. It's what they do when motivation leaves. It's the relentless consistency, the unshakable discipline, the unwavering commitment to their vision that carries them forward when everything else wants to stop them. Consistency is the bridge between dreams and results. Anyone can take action when it feels easy or exciting. The real power comes from showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. The unstoppable understand this. They understand that success is not a single heroic act. It is the accumulation of small, persistent actions taken day after week, year after year. Consistency compounds, and over time, it builds momentum that is impossible to stop. That is the real secret of those who achieve extraordinary results. They don't wait for motivation. They create habits that make success inevitable. Let's be honest, life is full of distractions, excuses, and setbacks. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always feel energized. There will be days when doubt whispers in your ear and fear tempts you to quit. There will be days when the path ahead seems impossible and the easiest choice is to give up. That is exactly when consistency matters most. It is in those moments, motivation is absent and resistance is strong, that the unstoppable lean on discipline, not desire. They take action even when they do not feel like it. They show up even when it hurts. They move forward step by step, knowing that momentum comes not from emotion, but from unwavering commitment. Think about the most successful people you know, those who seem unstoppable in their achievements. you notice is not just their talent or luck, it is their ability to show up day in and day out, regardless of how they feel. They have created systems, routines, and habits that automate their success. They don't rely on fleeting feelings. They rely on actions. And that is the key difference. Motivation gets you started, but consistency carries you across the finish line. The unstoppable also understand the power of focus. They don't scatter their energy chasing every opportunity that comes their way. They choose what matters most and commit to it fully. Consistency is not just about action, it's about aligned, deliberate action. It's about taking steps every day that move you closer to your vision, that reinforce the identity of who you are becoming. Every small effort, when done consistently, compounds into massive results over time. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary. That is how dreams become reality. Another important truth is that consistency builds confidence. Every time you show up, every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. You prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, that you can overcome challenges, that you can achieve what you set out to do. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you earn moment by moment through relentless, disciplined action. And the more you act consistently, the more unstoppable you become, because you have the proof in your own life that you are capable of creating results, no matter what. Of the most powerful ways to cultivate consistency is through ritual. The unstoppable design their days around habits that reinforce their goals and their identity. They don't leave success to chance. They decide in advance what actions are non-negotiable, what routines are essential, and what standards they will never compromise. This is where discipline meets freedom. By automating success through habits and routines, they free their energy to focus on growth, creativity, and high-leverage actions. Consistency is not about rigidity. It is about creating a structure that guarantees progress regardless of circumstances. You also have to understand that setbacks will happen. They will test your consistency. There will be failures, mistakes, and times when it feels like nothing is working. Most people use those moments as excuses to quit. The unstoppable use those moments as catalysts to double down. They understand that consistency is not linear. There will be ups and downs, but the key is never to stop. Every action, every effort, every attempt adds to your cumulative progress. Momentum is built in the small, persistent steps, in bursts of inspiration that fade with time. Discipline is at the heart of consistency. It is the decision to take control over your behavior, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of temporary setbacks. Motivation may inspire you to start, but discipline ensures that you finish. Discipline is choosing what is right over what is easy. It is choosing action over comfort. It is choosing to honor your commitments to yourself, even when no one else is watching. That is the difference between ordinary people and the unstoppable. That is the power of consistency. Consistency also teaches patience. The world loves instant results. We are trained to expect quick wins, overnight success, and rapid transformations. Real lasting achievement comes from sustained effort. The unstoppable understand this. They know that results accumulate over time. They know that every small, consistent action adds up, and eventually, compounding effect creates breakthroughs that feel almost magical. But those breakthroughs are never sudden. They are the result of relentless persistence, day after day, year after year. Perhaps the most important lesson is that consistency reinforces identity. Every time you show up, every time you follow through, you reinforce the story you tell yourself about who you are. You are the kind of person who does not quit. The kind of person who keeps going even when it is hard. You are the kind of person who takes control of your life and refuses to settle for less. And the more you act in alignment with that identity, the more it becomes your default. You stop acting as if and simply become unstoppable. To act as if you are unstoppable, you must embrace consistency as a non-negotiable part of your life. You must commit to showing up every day, taking aligned action, refusing to be derailed by temporary feelings, setbacks, or doubt. You must understand that each small effort compounds, that each step forward builds momentum, and that the sum of your consistent actions will inevitably create extraordinary results. So if you want to be unstoppable, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect feeling or the perfect moment. Take action now and then take action again tomorrow and again the next day. Create habits that reinforce your goals. Discipline that carries you when motivation fades. And trust that over time, consistency will transform your life in ways you can't yet imagine. If you want to be unstoppable, you must learn to expand your vision beyond your limits. Too many people limit themselves because they can only see what seems possible in their current circumstances. They define their goals based on what feels safe, what feels realistic, what feels achievable without too much risk or discomfort. Here's the truth: the unstoppable don't operate within limits. They operate beyond them. They dare to dream bigger, to imagine possibilities that others can't even conceive, and to take actions that stretch them into new levels of achievement. Vision is the engine of unstoppable momentum, and the bigger your vision, the greater your power becomes. Expanding your vision starts with your imagination. Most people underestimate the power of imagining a future that is extraordinary. They limit themselves because they have been taught to play it safe, to settle for average, and to accept life as it is rather than life as it could be. But unstoppable people don't live in the world of limitation. They live in the world of possibility. They ask themselves questions like, if I could do the impossible, what if there were no limits? What would I attempt if I knew I could not fail? These are not idle questions. They are the starting point for creating a life that matches your highest potential. The vision you hold shapes your identity, your energy, and your actions. When you see yourself achieving something extraordinary, your mind begins to search for ways to make it happen. Your body responds to the energy of that vision. Your focus sharpens, your determination intensifies, and suddenly what once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. That is why the unstoppable refuse to shrink their dreams. They understand that the size of their vision determines the size of their results. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you must first see it clearly, vividly, and boldly in your mind. Expanding your vision also requires courage. It is easy to stay small, to stick with what you know, to avoid risk, to stay within the comfort zone of the familiar. But comfort does not create greatness. Courage creates greatness. Courage allows you to step into the unknown, to attempt what others would never dare, and to persist when fear, doubt, uncertainty rise up to challenge you. Every step you take beyond your current limits expands your capacity, strengthens your resilience, and brings you closer to the extraordinary life you are capable of creating. Stoppable people also understand the power of belief. They know that a vision is only as powerful as the belief you hold in your ability to achieve it. Belief is not wishful thinking. Belief is a decision to act as if success is possible. Even when the evidence is not yet visible, it is a refusal to be limited by past failures, by criticism, or by the opinions of others. When you believe in your vision with unshakable certainty, you align your thoughts, your actions, your energy toward making it real. Doubt may visit, but it no longer controls you. Fear may arise, but it no longer dictates your choices. Belief transforms vision into unstoppable action. Another critical aspect of expanding your vision is learning to embrace risk. Unstoppable people do not avoid risk. They take calculated risks. They understand that growth, achievement, and breakthroughs rarely come from staying safe. They embrace uncertainty, knowing that every risk carries within it the potential for extraordinary reward. The difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is not luck. It is the willingness to move boldly into the unknown, to attempt what others fear, and to trust that every step, even if imperfect, propels them forward. Expanding your vision also involves surrounding yourself with the right people. Your environment has a profound impact on what you believe is possible. If you surround yourself with people who doubt, criticize, or play small, it will be difficult to see yourself beyond limits. But when you surround yourself with those who inspire, challenge, and push you to be more, your vision grows. You absorb their energy, their ideas, and their belief in possibility. You are reminded of what is possible, even when your own mind questions it. And the company you keep becomes a reflection of the extraordinary life you are choosing to create. To expand your vision beyond limits, you must also embrace continuous learning and growth. The unstoppable understand that knowledge, skills, and perspective are tools that amplify your potential. They invest in themselves relentlessly, seeking out experiences, mentors, and education that stretch them beyond their current capabilities. Every new skill learned, every insight gained, and every perspective broadened expands the horizon of what they believe is possible. Growth is not optional. It is essential for anyone who wants to live a life without limits. Visualization and action are inseparable when it comes to vision. It is not enough to imagine the life you want. You must also take massive, consistent, aligned action to bring it into reality. The unstoppable take their vision and break it down into steps, creating a path forward that is ambitious yet achievable. They move forward with urgency, with clarity, and with unwavering commitment, knowing that each step, no matter how small, compounds into extraordinary results over time. Vision without action is fantasy. Action without vision is aimless. The unstoppable combine the two with relentless focus. Perhaps the most transformative element of expanding your vision is understanding the impact it has beyond yourself. When you hold a vision that is bold, ambitious, and extraordinary, it inspires others. Your energy, your determination, your belief become contagious. People begin to believe in what you are creating, opportunities emerge, and doors open that you could not have imagined. Expanding your vision is not just about achieving personal success. It is about creating influence, impact, and a legacy that lifts others and shapes the world around you. Finally, expanding your vision requires persistence. The larger your vision, the more obstacles you will encounter, the more resistance you will face, the more doubts you will have to overcome. But persistence is the engine that carries your vision forward. Every time you refuse to quit, every time you overcome fear, every time you act despite uncertainty, you reinforce the reality of your vision. Persistence turns possibility into probability and probability into reality. The unstoppable do not retreat from challenges. They use them as stepping stones to a future only they can see. When you expand your vision beyond your limits, you do more than set goals. You redefine what is possible in your life. You step into a level of thinking, energy, and action that makes you unstoppable. You refuse to be constrained by circumstance, past failures, or the opinions of others. You dare to dream bigger, act bolder, and persist longer than anyone else. And in doing so, you create a life that reflects the extraordinary potential that already exists within you. So now I want you to take a moment and imagine your life with no limits. Imagine the person you would become, the impact you would have, the results you would create. Hold that vision, embrace it, and step into it with courage, belief, and relentless action. Because the moment you expand your vision beyond your limits, no longer just dreaming, you are becoming unstoppable.